You know, it's extraordinary, really, for most of us, because we've all witnessed Mr. Chowdhury and his group for many years trying to provoke the British people. He's got on his record not only these huge swathes of people that he has helped to radicalize, but of course he's also...
Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So we're going to be checking out Douglas Murray leaves angry Islamist cleric speechless with bitter truths about Islam, and this is really epic, you know. And I just want to see how it comes out. Okay, so let's watch this together. Okay.
So, one of the suspects attended your marches, listened to your lectures. You therefore helped radicalise him. Will you apologise for what's happened down in Woolwich?
I'm not going to apologise for exposing the crimes of the British government in Iraq or Afghanistan.
That's not the question I asked. You helped radicalise
let me answer the question
suspect
in my way. Radicalisation is a stick which is used to beat the Muslim community. The fact is that there is conflation between exposing the British foreign policy, between things like rendition, Guantanamo Bay, killing innocent men, women and children, which I have no apology for whatsoever.
But
and we will continue to expose.
You helped radicalise this suspect, and now a British soldier is dead
without allowing me to answer the question the way that I want.
The question I'm asking is, you helped radicalise him because you were there with him on these marches. Will you apologise?
Radicalisation is calling for the Sharia nowadays. Radicalisation is exposing the British government. Radicalisation is commanding good, forbidding evil. We say, and we've always said, that we live here under a covenant of security. It's not allowed to target innocent people in return for our life and work being secure. And we've said that over the years.
Radicalisation
the fact is the biggest radicalising factor is the British government and their foreign policy.
But radicalisation is also about justifying violence, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Will you take some responsibility for what has happened on the streets of Woolwich?
Pejorative like radicalisation, fundamentalism, extremism is used by the British government to silence a section of the community which expose their own policies. There's something called Islam. Islam calls for the Sharia. Islam says that people have a right to defend themselves. And that's what we propagate. We don't propagate something outside of Islam.
Douglas Murray, how should the government respond to the kind of things that Anjem Chowdhury is saying there?
Well, it's very difficult in a way for the government because Al-Mujahirun and its offshoots have already been banned. Its offshoots have been banned for many years. And this group, of course, and its activities predate 9/11. And I think it's very important to remember that Amer Mirza was convicted, first a member of Al-Mujahirun, was convicted in 1998 for his attempt to firebomb a British Army barracks. There have been a spate of attacks. We've worked out that about 20% actually of convictions of Al-Qaeda-related terror convictions in this country have a linkage with Al-Mujahirun and with Mr. Chowdhury.
Okay, Douglas, let me put that point direct to Anjem Chowdhury. I mean, that's quite an astonishing figure. I mean, you take some responsibility for that, don't you?
No, not at all. I think that you need to make a distinction between legitimate political and ideological struggle, which we have been doing for about 15 or 20 years in this country. You know, I've never been arrested. I've never been arrested for organizing any terrorist activities, any kind of military bases or anything like that. And the reality is that people we come across, we have a huge number of demonstrations and processions and activities. And of course, we come across many people. People may leave our own activities and do things outside of that. And we're not going to be accountable for that.
But there is nothing legitimate about radicalizing Richard Dart, who plotted to bomb Wootton Bassett. How many jihadists have you? How many jihadists have you influenced? How many people have they killed?
Richard Dart was in prison for 9 or 10 months. He faced the choice between having about 20 years in prison or taking a plea bargain. He made a couple of phone calls. He typed a few things on a computer.
Wait.
The fact that he was forced to plead guilty doesn't mean that he was planning anything at all.
In court, you radicalised him. It was said in court that you radicalised Richard Dart. How many jihadists would you say you radicalised?
For the British government and their own media wing, radicalisation is calling for the Sharia. Radicalisation is exposing their murderers in Muslim countries. Radicalisation is saying that we want the Sharia. The fact is that, you know, these kind of terms are used to demonise the Muslims and to justify your foreign policy.
Okay, Julie Siddiqui, let me bring you in. What's your response to what you've heard there?
Well, I just want to first of all give my condolences and thoughts to the family, friends and the people of Woolwich, really, the family and friends of Lee Rigby. Of course, today we're seeing the, face to a name, really, and it makes it even more horrific and very, very sad what we saw on our streets unfolding yesterday. You know, I think really all of us, any decent people in this country, will realise that this kind of rhetoric has no place whatsoever in this country. You know, what we saw yesterday and what we're seeing with the likes of the English Defence League, you know, for me, in both ends, they are trying to divide this country in a way that we won't stand for. You know, the good hundreds and thousands of good people in this country, you know, al-Muhajirun and any of his offshoots have always only ever had tens of people, not hundreds, not thousands. You know, so really representing a very, very small number of people in this country.
And you mentioned the EDL there. I mean, there have been some mosques targeted by the far right. Do you think Muslims, mainstream Muslims, are fearful today?
I mean, I think Muslims do feel vulnerable today. And, you know, some mosques were attacked yesterday and we're hearing all sorts of other stories coming through. And, of course, we have to all remain calm and measured to make sure that these things don't escalate any further, because that's obviously something that we don't want to see in this country either. So I think Muslims do feel vulnerable today. But I think the overwhelming majority of Muslim organisations and individuals have come out in full force today to absolutely condemn and say that this kind of action has no place whatsoever in this country.
Douglas Murray, David Cameron said that these attacks will bring people together. Are we not terror-struck as a country?
No, I don't think so at all. I'm not terror-struck. You're not terror-struck. Almost none of the British nation, I should think, is terror-struck. What we are is united in disgust, Muslims and non-Muslims. You know, it's extraordinary, really, for most of us, because we've all witnessed Mr. Chowdhury and his group for many years trying to provoke the British people. He's got on his record not only these huge swathes of people that he has helped to radicalise, but, of course, he's also created the English Defence League, an incredible double whammy achievement for one individual. But, you know, one of the things that's most interesting in this is the continual provocation of Mr. Chowdhury does not persuade and will not persuade most of us to believe that most Muslims are like Mr. Chowdhury. They are not. Most Muslims in this country are utterly disgusted by him and his actions. And the important thing to remember for non-Muslims is not to be provoked by Mr. Chowdhury, not even when he says, as he did earlier this year, that his £25,000 a year that he gets in benefits from the British state is what he calls Jihad seekers allowance. If I may make one point.
Okay.
Mr. Chowdhury was almost certainly better paid than drummer Rigby. That fact is something that we should mull on and I would suggest sort out swiftly.
Anjem Chowdhury, I mean, these suspects viewed the soldiers generally as legitimate targets. Do you?
Well, let me just say, first of all, that Douglas Murray...
Wait a second.
Douglas Murray is talking rubbish. I'm not getting 25k a year.
We'll leave
I'm
that
not
aside.
on JSA for your information.
Leave
Check
that
your facts.
aside. Yeah, we'll
and she's
talk
wrong
about
as
that.
well.
But
We don't
these
have
suspects...
10 or 100 members.
Okay,
we have many.
right.
But the point
These
is,
suspects,
soldiers who are fighting in Afghanistan, obviously the people have a right to defend themselves. What we say in Britain is that we have a covenant of security. In return for our life and wealth being protected, it is not allowed for Muslims to target the life and the wealth of the people with whom we live. But I'll tell you something.
Okay.
The people who are oppressing the Muslims is the British government. The people who are banning ideological and political struggle are the British government.
Okay,
they don't allow people to express
Chowdhury,
themselves.
you've had your time. You've had your say. Thank you very much. We have to move on now.
You guys, there's something I normally say. First of all, this video starts from the comment section. Okay, make sure you are not being disrespectful to any religion on the comment section. Okay, but I have some things to say. You know, we need more people like Douglas Murray, more people that are going that are very outspoken like Douglas Murray. And I think the way the word is, I just feel like people should be free to voice out their own opinion. And I also feel like this is actually an opportunity for us to learn Islam and also learn Christianity at the same time, because sometimes we might be misunderstanding Islam, okay, and sometimes we might also be misunderstanding them also. And this is actually very understandable, and I love the way this debate actually goes, and you know, the way it comes out. Also, don't forget to drop your own thoughts on the comment section. Let's be respectful, no disrespect on the comment section. Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.